Ready to questions, guys.
What was the approach in practice today? Did you push the guys pretty hard or pull back a little bit? Or?
We our approach was to get ready for Syracuse, to work on our defense, to get re-familiar with the zone. Obviously, it was a while ago when we played them, and we haven't seen that zone in a while. So just try to get familiar with that and work on some things with us.
Jeff, what did you guys do so well rebounding the ball in that game? What's the talk about trying to replicate that?
Yeah, I mean, against the zone, you have opportunities to get offensive rebounds. We have to do a much better job defensive rebounding. I think they had 15 offensive rebounds, so we have to do a much better job there. When we didn't turn it over, we didn't miss a lot of shots up there. We shot the ball pretty well. We have to do a much better job of valuing the basketball, though, because they got a lot of transition points from our turnovers.
Jeff, looking back at that win, I mean, it was so long ago, but that was, I remember you talking about it in the post game, about how that was the first time you guys were able to get a big stop defensively late in the game. Do you feel like that win was kind of a milestone or a turning point for your team this year?
I don't know about that. I just know it was a big win. We had a big lead, and we played not to lose. And they were super aggressive, and our turnovers got them easy baskets. And then they hit some really tough shots. It was interesting revisiting that after the game the other night. After I watched our game against Georgia Tech, I immediately watched our game against Syracuse from earlier. And we did a lot of really good things, but down the stretch, the crowd got into it, and they were unbelievable. They hit some really tough shots, but we were able to get a stop at the end, make some big free throws, and get another stop on their last possession. So it was big for us. I don't know if it was a turning point, but it was big for us.
How would you say your team has changed since that game, or evolved?
I think we're more confident. I think guys understand what we need to do at a higher level, to be good, to understand when we're at our best what we're doing, to be able to get out of things maybe a little bit quicker if we're not playing well, maybe to get out of it a little bit quicker. I think just some guys are individually are better. Again, it was so long ago when we played them. Normally, in the past, when we played them, the back-to-backs have been a little bit quicker. This has been a while, and so I think they're different, and so it'll be a great game.
How much did you focus on the last 13 minutes of that game when you had a big lead and then they cut it?
I focused on all of it. I would say probably evenly all the way around. I looked at what we did early that made it, that enabled us to get that lead. I looked at how we defended early. And then when we had the lead, I thought we let up a little bit. We had some opportunities that, maybe could have broke the game, maybe could have broken them, where we had some wide open threes that we missed. But I think the biggest thing during that stretch, the last 12 minutes or so, were the turnovers, the live ball turnovers that we had that just enabled them to get easy shots.
Jeff, Saturday is a sellout crowd. You've had some games here where there was some hype heading into them, but would you say this is probably the highest anticipated game you've had in your time here, regular season-wise?
Probably. I think it's pretty, highly anticipated anytime North Carolina comes here or Duke comes here. But certainly this game and against this opponent, specifically because of the rivalry, from the old Big East, the original Big East. And so there's, there are a lot of layers to that. And so I would probably say yes.
Go ahead, Jeff. Obviously wins are a big factor, but what's the impact to you of this senior class?
It's huge. I mean, these guys have been unbelievable. You take the, Fish and Nike, who've been here the longest, and what those guys have endured and been through, Fish being a manager first, and then earning the spot as a walk-on. And, his voice is really important for us, and he's earned that. Everyone knows what an unbelievable teammate he is. And then Nike, what he went through his first year here, having to sit, the first however many games it was, becoming eligible 56 minutes before we played at Miami. And then during that year, the next year, tearing his ACL and sitting out and, what he's meant to us and done this year. You know, for Jamarius, you know, being his second year, you know, and what he's endured, what he's gone through, and how he's fought and persevered. And then you got the new seniors, you know, or the graduates, you know, with Nelly and with Greg, and just how, you know, the things that they've, you know, brought to this program, you know, great teammates, winning, positivity, experience, leadership, all of those things. All 5 of those guys, you know, to me embody all of that, and they've meant a lot to our program.
Emotional day for you?
It probably will be a very emotional day for me. Normally, even when I was a player, it was interesting. Senior nights were always emotional except for mine. And then since I've been a coach, you know, for the most part, they always have been. You know, when you look at what guys mean to your program, what guys mean to you individually as a coach, you know, their belief in you, the relationships, the things you've been through together, and to think that that's the last time at home you'll have a chance to be with them, it's always emotional.
Why wasn't your senior night emotional?
We had been through hell as a program. My senior night was more of me personally. I was on a mission to get the program back to where it was when I get there, at least to be trending in that direction. And if we won my senior night, we won the ACC. That's all I was worried about. That's all I was worried about. And we were fortunate to win and be ACC regular season champs. And so I was so into that I wasn't worried about me.
Did you get emotional afterwards after that one?
Not really. Not really. I was so in the moment. I'd been through a lot individually there. Earlier that year, I got booed in Cameron, which stung big time. So I was kind of emotioned out for that. I was really emotional and loved my teammates and the program and things like that. But at that point, I was emotioned out. I was just locked in on, you know, trying to get us trending back. When I got there, you know, we won the ACC my freshman year. It was really important for me, you know, at least to have it going back in that direction.
Did you take anything from how your coach handled that when you were senior day and apply that to how you handled that?
No, not really. I'm not him. You know, I'm me. You know, coach was always pretty emotional, you know, for senior nights, for some a little bit more because of the relationships and things like that. But I've always handled it my way.
What are you going to tell the guys? You have a lot of seniors for senior night, and it can be emotional, and then they got to get off that and get out there and play. What are you going to tell them? We
got to play the game. You know, be locked into the game, locked into the moment. You know, enjoy it, but we got to play a game. And that's the main thing. And, you know, it's something I grabbed those guys after practice today and talked to them a little bit just about that, in, you know, just making sure. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it. You know, they have to start getting prepared now. They're taking care of their tickets and all that stuff right now. You know, these guys will have a lot of family here, a lot of friends. Just get that stuff because, you know, as Coach T says, the main thing has to be the main thing, and the main thing has to be to beat Syracuse.
Jeff, how do you envision this senior group being remembered for their time at Pitt?
I don't know. I mean, I hope that people will look at them as guys that came in that were unbelievable teammates, you know, that fought and persevered, that believed in this place, you know, believed in what they could do to help change it, believed in what we could do, and that we're a big part of that.
Do you see it sinking in a little bit for them? Like, oh my gosh, the time's kind of coming right now.
Yeah, I see it a little bit. These guys have been through a lot. And, you know, this year they've been through a lot. And they've handled it unbelievably well. It shows their character and their toughness about what they've been able to do this year after, especially the guys that have been here. Because they really have been through a lot. And to see it kind of going in a different direction, a more positive direction, is pretty cool.
I saw on the ESPN crawl last night that Coach K said he doesn't miss coaching. Were you surprised to hear that?
Absolutely not. No.
Why is that?
I just don't. I think when you are, you know, first of all, I think he squeezed everything out, and you just get to a point where I think he misses the game. I think he misses the relationships. I think he misses that part. but I don't think he misses all the BS that comes along with the job now. It's a very different job. And when you've accomplished in your 70s, you know, I don't see how you're still doing this. That's just me though. I mean, I'm 48. There's no way when I'm that age that I'm doing this. No. So I believe him, and I'm happy for him. You know, I'm really happy. I talked to him yesterday. I mean, he's probably just as busy now, and he's doing things that he enjoys. You know, going to speak, going to see his grandkids play. I think that's cool. For me, my relationship with him, the fact that he's going to high school basketball games, middle school basketball games, going to see his grandson at NYU, I think that's unbelievably cool. I think that's what he and Mrs. K deserve, to be able to do that.
Jeff, what will help you mentally get there? What will allow for you to reach a point where you're saying, I don't need to coach anymore? Is it championships? Is it, you know, I mean, what is it?
It's just when you don't, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. I would guess first of all, I hope I have the decision where I can make, where you can go. Very few coaches have a chance to walk, to go on their own. You know, sometimes it's not your choice. If I'm fortunate enough to be in that position, it'll be when I feel, I can't relate anymore, or I don't have the desire to prepare like you have to prepare in order to, do this job.
On a few different occasions in here, you've mentioned about getting booed at Cameron and kind of how that impacted you as a senior. And then sort of the flip side, you guys often talk about the energy you get from the zoo, right? The positive energy. How do you advise the players on balancing that? You know what I mean? Listen to the good stuff. Don't hear the negative stuff when it's often just as loud.
Yeah, I try to tell them don't listen to any of it. We have to, we know what's going on in our program. And so we don't have to, we shouldn't be, what's the word I'm looking for? We shouldn't allow outside influences to determine our worth and determine how we feel about us, how we feel about ourselves. And that's a delicate balance. Obviously, if it's positive, it's good, then it can give you a jolt, it can give you adrenaline. When it's negative, it can take you in a different direction. And so you have to be able to find a balance there. I've said before, I am so grateful for what I went through as a player. A lot of guys, especially in that program, it's like a fairy tale. Mine wasn't. Mine was hard, because I was blamed for it. And that was very hard at 21 and 22 years old. I'm grateful, though, that one of the things I'm grateful for is that we didn't have social media. There was none of that stuff. Talk radio wasn't that big then. The internet wasn't big, because I can't imagine how it is now. It was, no one talked about mental health back then, in 96, 97. I'm pretty sure I needed it. I got it from family and friends and the assistant coaches, and especially teammates. But you got to find a balance, man, and you got to have positive people around you and people to tell you the truth.
Coach, do you think that some of the reason why the talk about Pitt nationally is not there is because you don't have the one go-to guy? You don't have Isaiah Wong, you don't have Amanda Baycott. You have a team who, at any given night, anybody's the top scorer, anybody's the top guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I've said before, when there's been talk about our league being weak, I don't hear people saying that when they talk about Virginia. I don't think I hear people saying that when they talk about Miami. I've looked at both of those teams' non-conference schedule. I don't think it was a lot, very different than ours. And so I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I really haven't tried to figure it out much because I can't control it. The thing I can control is trying to get us to be the best that we can day in and day out and take care of things on the court. That's it.
I apologize if this was asked earlier, and I know that you guys have been locked in and trying to focus on the next game throughout the season, but when you see Virginia's loss and how that creates a situation where if you guys do win out, you lock in the 1 seed for the tournament. Is that something that even registers for your team, or are you guys too locked in on Syracuse to even worry about that door being open?
We haven't talked about it, but we all know it. You know, they know it. I'm pretty sure they've talked about it. I haven't talked about it with them. We as a staff, we've kind of kept the same thing of let's win the day. Let's take care of what's in front of us. This is our next step. You know, today's step was having a good practice and getting prepared for Syracuse, but we are very well aware of that. It's not something that we will talk to them about, but I'm pretty sure they've had conversations about it.
Earlier,
Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say earlier this season, Jamarius missed a couple games with knee inflammation. Has he continued to deal with that over the last couple months?
Yeah, he has.
Do you feel like it's slowing him down, or is it wearing
Well,
him down?
I think the thing that, you know, not being able to practice, I think that's he hasn't been able to practice a lot, and I think that's, you know, maybe inhibiting him some. Obviously, this time of year, everyone's banged up, everyone's sore, everyone's hurting in some capacity, but he'll be able to push through it.
Going back to Syracuse, the way you guys are playing right now, with the way that they're playing, what are the biggest challenges that they pose to you guys directly?
Well, obviously the zone, their length, their athleticism in it. Those guys up top, especially Mintz, getting steals, you know, and things like that. For them offensively, you know, Gerard, Judah Mintz, Edwards, those guys. I think Bell is playing a lot better from when we played him the first time. We have to rebound the basketball better. You know, so I just think, you know, Judah's not a freshman anymore. He's had an outstanding freshman season. And, you know, one of the big differences, the last 2 games, he's 6 for 6 from 3. That's a little scary because that's something you could kind of slack off of him a little bit. Now with the way he shot the ball in the last 2 games, you have to maybe get up to him a little bit more, and that opens up where he's already terrific as a driver. But they're a really good team. Obviously, they have a very good coach, a Hall of Fame guy, one of the best guys that's ever done it. And they'll come in here loaded for bear. I know that.
Jeff, you talked about you guys' emphasis on defense and needing to get back to that in practice. What have you guys been able to do since Tuesday?
We were off yesterday, so we had practice today. We worked on defense. We watched tape. We watched feedback. We watched a preview of Syracuse. Then we went out there and we got back to some basics defensively. You know, talked a lot, went through some things, you know, tried to get prepared for the zone, our transition defense, those things.
How did they, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how did the guys respond to
Good. They were very good. They were very good. It was very, very positive.
Thanks, guys.
All right.